I think it's like the biggest problem with like men's mental health, and even women too. I mean, just mental health in general. It's so bad because like you'll see people and they'll go to like a funny movie and sometimes they won't even laugh. Like they just like kind of just sit through it. And I feel like 90% of that is because like they've had such a bad day at work or whatever they were doing that now they're just choosing to be upset because now that's what they know.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. My name is Devan. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you're ready for a stellar episode. In this episode, I got to sit down with Kodip. Kodip is a comedian who specializes in redneck comedy and has some of the funniest bits on TikTok that I've ever watched, and so you should go check him out. And also, he's on Instagram and YouTube, so you can find him there as well. I've known Kodip for a while. We've known each other for a few years now, and we met in college and competed on the same track and field team. And I've had many conversations with him, but none quite like this. So I hope you stay around to check it all out. It was really great. There's so much great information here about mental health, about social media, about personal goals. And so I hope you really enjoy this episode. Also, leave a comment down below. I'm going to pick the best comment, whether it's a question or just a funny quip or the best part of the episode. I'm going to pick something and I'm going to feature it in the next episode. And so make sure you leave a comment down below. Also, if you like this episode, give it a like and make sure you subscribe to follow for more. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Man, the struggles. And I'm new to this. You've been at this for some time.
Yeah, a little bit. It's been well, let me see. It's actually been when were we done? Mary, that have been 2019? 2020? So when COVID hit.
Yeah, 2020, spring of 2020.
So that would be 2 years come March?
Okay.
I want to say it's been 2 years of TikTok now. When March rolled through, so it's been about 2.5 now. So a little bit of time, a little bit.
Yeah, I have a little bit of experience under the belt anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think that people have been going longer than that. Because TikTok's been around for what, like 4 years?
Well, yeah, I mean, like as TikTok it has been. I remember when I was in middle school, they used to have like Musical.ly.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. I never did.
Yeah, where they'd dub mouth sync to like songs and stuff. People would do dances. Like that's kind of like what turned into TikTok. Because like I used to get paid from TikTok, and they still actually paid under the account Musical.ly.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they.
So Musical.ly turned into TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight out the. Okay.
Same creators, yeah.
Huh.
The
Chinese.
Mm-hmm. It would say Musical.ly and then a bunch of hoopla about like with their characters and stuff, so it's like I don't know what it's saying, but they paid me. That's kind of how that worked.
Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember when you started. That was really fun. Was your first video that one where you did that slow open with the can? That's the first one I remember.
The slow motion?
Yeah, you did like a slow open with a can. And you put the lid on your nipple. do you remember what I'm talking about?
I think I remember making it.
It was in your dorm.
Oh yeah,
up in north.
That's right. Yeah, that was like how I opened up my video or something. Cause I thought you were talking about a TikTok video.
Oh.
I totally forgot. Yeah, that I used to make those videos for the team like every Tuesday. Yeah, I was what the heck did I name that? I think I posted that one on my YouTube or something.
I think so, because I think I ran into it because I was like trying to go back to see like some of the first stuff.
Yeah, it was like Kodip's top 5 chews or something like that.
Yep.
And I had like a dumb saying for each one. I don't even remember how it went. That was a long time ago, but yeah, I did a lot of those in the dorm room. Roommates were never happy with me up late at night.
Well, I suppose, especially in the beginning when you start something, there's a lot of editing that goes into it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of editing. That is for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had I think the longest I've ever spent editing a video is probably about 6 hours.
Wow.
I want to say, and that wasn't even for like TikTok or anything. That's like a video that like no one's ever seen because my uncle does like kind of like small time movie stuff, and he sends them into the communications district here in town, and TV will air it and stuff.
Yeah.
But him and I were shooting one that we were gonna try and get out there and use my Kodip stuff to kind of gain some publicity on it, and then COVID hit, never really worked. But no, I spent like 6 hours trying to do this shot where like my character was like really hammered because he's like depressed, so he drank a ton, and he's like really sick, and he's like in the sink, but his reflection looks up at him.
Oh.
I was trying to do like a manipulative shot. It took me 6 hours to edit that, and it turned out really cool.
I was gonna say, did you pull it off?
I did. It looked really sweet. It was just like this drunk guy is kind of just standing there, but his reflection's like sober, and just like looking at him like, what are you doing with yourself? It was just kind of like a weird way of saying like he's trying to realize something, but he's just too drunk to really see it. And then he wakes up and he realizes what happened, and he's like, yeah, I gotta turn my life around. So yeah, that's like a quick 2-minute clip. Took me 6 hours to nail it. It was so
That's crazy.
So stupid. Takes some dedication.
Yeah. And nobody's really ever seen it.
No, not really. I showed it to a couple friends and stuff. I was like, what do you guys think of this? And they're like, how'd you do that? And I was like, well, it took a while, believe me. But yeah, no one's really seen it yet. It's been a 45-minute short film that's been like 2 years in the making. So it's kind of up in the air. But yeah, I know what you mean by editing. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a chore. But and that's the thing with social media too, is that people just don't see that.
Yeah.
People don't see that side of anything.
I mean, there's a lot. It's the same as like weightlifting. There's like you'll see some like super shredded dude, and it's like, oh man, he looks really ripped and everything. He probably loves like the way he looks, and it's like, yeah, well, it probably took him 6 years to get there.
Right.
With like the right dieting for 6 years, like not cheating on anything. It's dedication. Like that's exactly how filming and stuff is too.
Yeah, it's exactly like with filming especially, you can think about it like a sculpture where you're like hacking at the pieces. And same with that guy, maybe he was like 350 pounds.
Exactly.
It's like to get down to whatever that person's at, it's like that took sculpting, that took time, perfection, mistakes.
100%, yeah.
I don't think, we live in a world where everything's super put together post-edit, right? Nobody sees the mistakes that people make. Nobody hears a lot of the uhs in a lot of videos, that horrible sound that all of us do, and a lot of people edit it out, and people don't see that, and so they're like, man, this person's perfect, this person's spot on, they do all this stuff, but it takes time.
It does. I mean, it's, with social media, you only see the after, you don't ever see the before and the during.
Right.
Like, and that's like a big part of the after, but no one really sees it, so they just assume that it's like, I could probably do that. I could have that like this, but no, people give up on stuff like that because they just can't. It's like, this is too hard. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they're perfect.
Right.
That's where a lot of like that depression stuff I feel like kind of arises.
Well, especially in the people who aren't exactly doing. They haven't seen that end product that they can achieve yet. And they're always comparing themselves to other people. They're always, seeking validation that they never get because they're not at that place, or the validation that they want isn't the validation they're getting.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, you get depressed because you're just like, man, I'm not doing anything. I don't have, if video creation is your thing, it's like, I don't have 500,000 subscribers, it's like, I'm still working this really, really crappy day job, and it's like, that's terrible. It's like, you have all these little pieces that just add up into that depression. 100%. It's a tough, it's a double-edged sword, right? Social media, because you see that, you only see the number of people who succeed, right? That's all you see, but you don't see the number of people who fail.
Definitely.
100%.
I mean, and a lot of that too is just like people compare themselves to other people when really the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like, hey, well, how have I grown? Like, I don't care. You shouldn't have to care about, like, how you compare to someone else. They're in a different journey. I mean, like a really big dude who's, like, super jacked in the gym and everything, like he said, I mean, he might have started out at, like, 315 pounds, worked his way down to 275, and just looks shredded, cut, looks super good. Then you got a guy that's been in there for 2 weeks and he's beating himself up because he's only lost a couple pounds. It's like, well, it took that guy 6 months, and he started at a rough place, too. So it's like, it takes time. You got to work on yourself. You can only compare yourself to yourself.
Right.
Just like you just got to look at yourself in the mirror and have no distractions outside of it. It's the only box you want to be focused on. I feel like that's where, you're totally right. That's where a lot of people go wrong, is comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, the comparison. And then even sometimes people will compare themselves to themselves, but they'll compare themselves to themselves like 10 minutes ago when they had that really, really bad moment. Right? It's like, oh, I was going up, and then I went right down, and then it's like, oh man, I'm ruined. I'm right back at square one.
Yeah.
And I've done this. It's really fun to do this in therapy, to like remind a client of their progress. When they came into therapy, they started maybe down here, and then they they came up, then they had a bad day, and they came back down. Then you came back up, and then it's just that progression. And what ends up happening is when you have that bad day, you come back down and you see that you're down. You feel down. Where you started here, but you're up here, but you came down from where you were going.
Right.
Your trajectory kind of stopped, but you're still up here. We call those small box moments or little box moments. That's what I call them anyway. And it's really important. And I think journaling gets people out, or at least through the small box moments, because you can go back and say, okay, I'm here. If you keep track, or even just a record, you could keep something as easy as like, 8, 20, 22, 6 out of 10. You keep it like, you do it as simple as that.
Right.
You can just say 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, and it's like, then maybe you get in that rhythm, and then you like leave a small 1-sentence thing like, today was pretty good. You could keep that on your notes app on your phone, and then you just slowly build. But what happens through that, and the way you remember where you came from, is by consistently tracking and consistently talking to people too. When people are depressed, they're usually isolated. And so, socially they don't hang out with friends because it's like, well, I'm not good enough for friends, or, whatever. They're going to think this and that of me because of, this failure that they certainly don't know of, but when they do know about it, oh yeah, they're going to, leave me in the dust. And if you have friends like that, it's like, get rid of them.
Yeah.
First off.
No kidding, yeah.
But second off, it's like, you have this idea in your head, and then it's like, so you're socially isolated, and you can't tell someone that like, I'm feeling down. And where if I came to you and I said, Jace, man, I'm feeling down, I'm not feeling great, it's like, what would you do? Hey man, it's like, I get that. I get that you're feeling down, but look where you've come from, right? And that's the power of connection.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think with social media, because depressed people use social media more, and so when you're using social media more, you have this idea of like a false connection. It's like, well, I'm texting my friend, I'm talking to them, I'm connected, right? I'm talking, and it's going okay, and you kind of fool yourself into thinking that you're connected, but you're really not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like short link conversations. I mean, it's just, and I mean, they could be pointless as day, but you still feel like you're connected because, I mean, you're still technically talking to them, but you might not even be talking to them about the stuff you're supposed to be talking about. Like, just all over the place. I mean, it could just be like, hey, man, what's up? Oh, I'm just sitting in my room. Yeah, same. And then that's it.
Right. It never goes deeper.
Yeah, and it's just like, just these short little conversations that really don't go anywhere. but it makes you feel connected. It's kind of like the same with drinking. You know, you go out, you slam like 8 beers or something with your buddies, but then like, you know, you're really starting to feel it, so you have like a little quick caffeine shot. Gives you a false sense of sobriety, you know. It's like, oh man, I'm not really that hammered. It's like, no, you are.
You're actually way more hammered.
It's like you're still making the same mistakes you were making 20 minutes ago, but
right, and even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you're not with friends too, when you're sitting all alone, you're less likely to laugh too.
That's true.
You know, and I know we've had some conversation about it, that laughter is some of the best medicine.
Absolutely it is. 100%. I mean, like, well, it's like when you think about it, say your buddy sends you a funny video, and you respond with LOL, laughing face, like, you know, it looks like you're, like, just laughing about this video completely. But the most you might actually do with that video is just that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, it's just, you're not actually laughing about it. Whereas, like, if he was with you and you guys both watched that together, you'd probably be, like, dying laughing, rolling around because you're connecting through that video. It's just, instead of having them just send it to you.
Right.
I mean, there's a big difference about, like, hanging out in person rather just sending him a video because you thought it was pretty funny.
Right. No,
so it's like a in-the-moment thing, I guess.
Right. Well, yeah, because in the moment you have a connection, you know? That's like when you try to tell someone a joke, it's the worst. I always hate myself when I do it. I do it all the time. I always say, oh yeah, I was hanging out with so-and-so, and we were doing this thing, and he just looked at me funny. And it was hilarious. We both died laughing, and I'm trying to recreate that moment. Yeah. And then the person wasn't there for that, and so they're like, I don't get it. Why are you telling me this? And it's like, well, it was funny. I wanted you to have that moment too, but you can't because it's gone.
Right. It's because they weren't there to experience that. That's one of those things where it's like, you just had to be there, type deal, you know? Yeah. No, I'm totally with you there.
Yeah.
And I mean, laughter too is, I think it's like the biggest problem with like men's mental health, and even women too. I mean, just mental health in general. It's just, it's so bad because like, you'll see people and they'll go to like a funny movie and sometimes they won't even laugh. Like they just like kind of just sit through it. And I feel like 90% of that is because like they've had such a bad day at work or whatever they were doing that now they're just choosing to be upset because now that's what they know.
Right.
You know, like they're not giving themselves the opportunity to like climb out of that dark hole. Yeah. And when really that's exactly what they need is just find something to feel good about again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, when you're in a bad mood too, you're likely to pick out the negatives. It's like, gosh, this movie isn't even funny. Like, look at that. They got that shot all wrong. It's like, what is he even wearing? Like, that's so stupid. It's like, and you take yourself too serious.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I think that's the issue is that with people who lack laughter in their life, they take themselves too serious.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Well, I mean, yeah, they just sit there and be mad all the time. I mean, like, that's like the big thing on the internet right now is Karen. You know? Like, I mean, they're just always mad about something. I saw one the other day with this lady walked into... She was at, like, this boating dock, you know, and there's, like, this building there, and she walks in, and she's, like, chewing out this clerk, like, why won't you rent me a yacht? Why can't I rent a yacht? And she's like, we don't rent yachts. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And she turns around and she's like, are you recording me? You don't have the legal right. And it's like, this all started because you went to a place where they don't rent yachts, but you wanted to rent a yacht when you could have fixed that whole thing with like, hey, do you know where I can rent a yacht at? Like, you know, it's just people just choose to be upset.
Right.
And then they make a big deal out of it and it makes them feel good, but that's just because what they know.
Right,
you know?
Right. Absolutely. It's like, and you know, I hate to like think about it like that, but I mean, they probably grew up, you know, in a very serious household, or they had some experience that was like so damaging almost, where maybe they weren't serious, they weren't taking things serious, and then they just got walloped, you know, and then it was like, okay, I can't take anything like not seriously ever again. And it's like I have to be deadpan because otherwise I'm gonna get made a fool of. I'm gonna be the the laughing stock, something. Something bad's going to happen to me that I don't want, and I can't control that, so I'm going to be serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, something goes wrong somewhere in someone's life, and it just causes them to not be able to enjoy things.
Right.
And I mean, that's where I'm kind of thankful that therapy's a thing, is I mean, like, I've been pretty open with my friends and stuff, and like kind of online and everything with my whole Kodip character about like how, I had to go to therapy for a little while. And I mean, like, just because like my life was not in order, and I kind of used my TikTok as like a little bit of a crutch, like and it was bad too. I mean, like, I did like some self-attention stuff like on TikTok and all. Didn't feel good about it, but I went to therapy, and holy cow, does that make a difference? It just narrows down to where, okay, where are we going wrong here, and where can we fix this? And I mean, because like I wasn't able to laugh for a while either. Just like couldn't smile, and I found out it was because I didn't allow myself to smile. I took myself too seriously. So it's just. But yeah, somewhere along the way, something goes wrong, and people they don't like to laugh anymore. I think that's just kind of how that whole thing works.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. I think 100% what you said there, I wasn't allowing myself to laugh. Could you talk about that just a little bit more?
So, I mean, like, I'm going to try to think of an example here. I mean, I go out with friends and stuff, say we're out at the lake, and we'd be, slamming some beers and stuff, and my buddy trips off the deck, falls, face plants, hat goes flying, like total yard sale. Right. Everyone's laughing about it, and I just kind of like look at it and just kind of like smirk, and just look at my feet. Because all I would think about is just like, man, my life sucks right now. I wasn't allowing myself to be like, man, he ate it. That was hilarious, I just focused on the wrong things. So I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to like enjoy something like that. I wasn't allowing myself to laugh because I was just so suppressed about what I had going on. Yeah. Yeah, it was like, I don't even like, that was kind of funny, but what I've got is like way too serious, and it's like I'm not gonna allow myself to do that. Yeah, pretty much. And I mean that's kind of how I was for about a year and a half there. It was and you were creating content throughout all this. What was the difference that you saw in like your ability to make others laugh by not laughing yourself? Did you see a difference? I mean, not like a crazy big difference. I guess my comedy changed. Okay. That's for sure. There was kind of a real dark side to my humor, and a lot of that was because of stuff that like I had going on. Like that's just kind of like where I got my inspiration from. It was just like, that's a pretty. I tried to kind of like make others laugh about like stuff that I had going on, so it made me feel like, hey, well, I can still make people laugh. I should at least feel good about that, But I couldn't make myself laugh. I couldn't enjoy other stuff. So it's like, well, this is kind of how I'm gonna rock and roll until I can figure out what I got going on. But yeah, I mean, it was a real dark side of my comedy, I suppose. I mean, I was laughing about stuff like you shouldn't laugh about. Just like kind of borderline jokes where it's like, yeah, it's funny, but you probably shouldn't laugh about it. Like, right. Just, that's kind of like where my direction was headed. And then kind of like as I climbed out of that and stuff, it just kind of turned into more like just simple comedy. Like just stuff that like you'd see on a daily that's just kind of like makes you chuckle a little bit, with a bit of a redneck twist, because that's kind of how the whole character thing goes. Right. I'd say, right. I was going to ask, where did you find the inspiration for your character? Because I don't find anybody else really like you on social media. I mean, you're a pretty unique presence. Yeah. So where did you find that? It's different. I mean, I find it. I kind of found it all over the board. So I mean, there's a movie that came out. I would have been like a freshman in high school when I first saw this. It was Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and it's about these two Canadian hillbillies, and then they bought this dream home, and it's like a total wreck of a cabin. Like they're just like, man, it's a mansion, dude. And like they think it's like crazy cool, but it's like a run down mansion. Okay. It's a big building, but it just looks like it hasn't been taken care of in forever. So they say, bit of a fixer-upper, and they kind of go into this mansion and everything, and well, there's college kids that took a trip to this lake where this cabin's at, and there's been rumors that there's these two hillbillies that, like, they've been killing people. They've been dragging them into this old cabin, and and they've just been chopping them up and selling body parts on the internet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole movie is about how these hillbillies are trying to explain to these college kids, hey, we're not bad guys. And these college kids, they actually get so scared they end up killing themselves on accident. I mean, like, and it's not like some where it's like a total attempt at themselves. It's just like, you know, they run after this hillbilly with a spear, like he's gonna get him in the back because he's scared of him.
Yeah.
And the hillbilly will turn around at the perfect time.
Oh,
and as he's trying to stab him, he jumps into a wood chipper. Like, I mean, it's just like, you know, they just get themselves in these dumb situations, and the rednecks are just, oh my, what do we do? And, you know, and they're trying to fix it and clean it up, and then they're all bloody, and then they see that they got this guy's legs in a wood chipper, and they're bloody. Like, it's just out of control bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that whole thing started. I was like, you know what, that's hilarious. That'd be a really good character or something like that. And then after a while, I just kind of recognized, you know, I could do this voice type deal, and just kind of ran with it, I guess. But
yeah.
I would say a little bit from that, and then just kind of like country music stars. Like, I mean, if you watch like Luke Combs interviews, he's just, people just kind of laugh because like just his story was just so crazy.
Yeah.
But to him, it was his story, so he just tells it like, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But they're all like, yeah, it's pretty crazy that happened, you know.
Right.
Just, I don't know, just kind of found a lot of interest in how that whole side of comedy works. Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, 100%. They're hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And it's just so simple. Like, there's not a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's kind of like where a lot of my inspiration comes from to do the whole redneck bit.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, like Jeff Foxworthy, he does a great, like, I love, he does, what is it? It's, You Might Be a Redneck.
Oh yeah,
I love that. Oh my gosh. You might be a redneck if you eat cereal out of a plastic butter dish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just absolutely hilarious. But you're right. It's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that ties into country music too. Country music, it's simple. It's about kind of a simple thing. But I notice a difference between like old country and new country. I think there's a big shift. You know, like you talk about Luke Combs, and it's like, I really don't know, because like I just have this bad taste in my mouth for new country.
And I'm kind of the same way too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. I mean, you listen to the old legends like Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings. You know, some of those bigger names from like the 70s, maybe a little bit into the 80s as well. Mm-hmm. Their whole like lifestyle, I suppose, it just seems like it was all about growing up with like absolutely nothing, but that was like their childhood, and they found a way to sing about it.
Right.
You know.
Right. Drinking water from garden hose.
Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of whole just living. Yeah. Exactly, and I feel like all these new country songs that are coming out are kind of just about pop culture.
Yeah.
It's not even about like working your dad's farm and getting sent off to college because your dad finally saved up enough money to so you can make it big, and at the end of the day, kid wants to come back and work the farm because that's what he's always done. Like there's just songs like that, and now these new songs coming out. I mean, it's all about either going to a bar or just like hanging out with buddies, and it's like it's not the same country that it used to be. There's just a big, and I guess I can't say the fine line because like I'm not like country music expert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a historian by any means of country music.
But I suppose that's what it seems like. I mean, I feel like you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, it was like this shift where it's like you listen to like Hank Williams, sing about He Saw the Light Hank Williams is an interesting character because it's like he was singing about I Saw the Light, singing all these gospel tunes while he was addicted on drugs and living that life, and then he died real early, and then you see that progress through like Hank Jr. and Hank the Third, and just like how their songs have really changed, and but yeah, I mean you go through and like Conway Twitty and singing about like your love, very deep, passionate, and then you go to I don't know, like buy a big truck, like that's what I think about like modern country.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too simple, maybe I should listen a little bit more. But it's like, when I turn on the radio, that's what I hear. It's like, buy you a truck, drink beer, run from cops, do stupid stuff. And it's like, there's no narrative, right? I think that's what it is.
100%. Old country had a legit culture that you either grew up with or you didn't have it.
Right.
And now a lot of these country songs are like, anyone can be country. Just throw on some jeans, boots, go buy a truck, and you got it. I think you're totally right there. I think that's kind of where it just kind of gets defined as old country was this is how we live our life. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Right.
Just kind of how it is. But now with new country, it's just so adaptive to everybody.
Right.
It's just broadens so much. And I don't know if that has to deal with the ratings. Because those old country singers and stuff, you look at pictures of them when they were big time stars, they didn't really have the rock star stage that Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley had.
No, 100%.
It was popularity.
It was way down.
Yeah, the popularity of country music wasn't there. I mean it is for the old timers and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't there with the young generation. I think that's where country music changed, is with a couple of young guys, I would say, that were hey, let's kind of appeal this to the younger crowd, like Garth Brooks. I think he changed a lot of it because he wrote songs about kids staying out too late in the driveway, making out for their dad sees, just simple stuff that actual country kids do and everything, but it also applies to everybody else. So it's just kind of took a turn for pop, and I think that's where country just kind of completely wiped off the face of the planet from what Waylon and those guys wrote about,
Yeah, well, it's, if you even listen to the actual sound too, it's it's way more complex, and the thing about country was it was supposed to be simple. It's I find myself listening, I listen to old country and I listen to bluegrass because it's simple. And it's you can make it sound really complex. You can have a steel guitar, you can have a banjo, you can have a fiddle. But it's those are three things. And that's it. Now you have all these songs, they have reverb and they have all these different electronic sounds. I'm not a music expert by any means, so I don't know what all this stuff is called, but it's you have all these different layers of this sound, and on top of auto-tune. And so then it's when you go to a concert, you're not actually getting the voice, you're getting someone who actually really can't sing, wrote a few good lyrics, and got popular. Versus someone who was tone, perfect tone, and could play the guitar just like no one else, took a trip across the nation in the back of a truck, hitchhiking along the way, went to Nashville, stood in front of a stage, was homeless for a while, and you can tell that in the sound. Like a guy like Johnny Cash.
Yeah, they're all guys that have chips on their shoulders. They came from humble beginnings, and they're here to speak about that. Yeah, that's pretty much just kind of how their music was. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's just tough to see because I think that simplicity has a lot to offer, but nobody's hearing it anymore.
Oh, right. Totally. And there's some country singers out there. Cody Johnson. I don't know if you've heard of him at all, but he's kind of an on the rise country singer right now, and he's really trying to bring back the folk kind of side of country music. Like singing about values and singing about stories. That's kind of what he's doing. I really like some of the hip stuff he's been doing. Same with Ian Munsick. He's kind of another guy that's on the rise right now. But no, just like Luke Bryan. Yeah. Have you heard any of his new stuff?
I did. He's the one that sang Dad's Old Number, right? Is that him?
Something like that.
Something like that? Or maybe it was someone else. I can't remember.
I couldn't even tell you because I don't even listen to his stuff. I just turned on the radio one day and I was coming back from work and I could hear his voice and I'm like, what the heck is it? It sounded like if Taylor Swift just made a slow song. Okay. That's the beat that it had, and it was Luke Bryan singing it, and I'm like, this sounds awful. I'm like, this isn't country music, and it's on a country station. Right. The name of the station is 105.9 Big Rig Country, bringing you Luke Bryan, and then they play this.
Right.
Just it sounded like something that like an astronaut made in space.
Right, or like Florida Georgia Line.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's like it's like party country.
Party bands,
party country or like pop country. You know, none of it's country. Like I like there's a guy like Coulter Wall.
Coulter Wall's so good.
His voice, man.
I know.
I don't understand it. But it is miraculous.
And his guitar playing too, like if you listen to his beat, it sounds like he made that guitar himself and he just started playing it. Like it's just raspy and old and it just kind of has that sound. You know, I mean, it's just something you can't recreate.
No, it's unique. And I think that was like everybody's trying to be everybody else right now and nobody's trying to be themselves in country.
Exactly.
And I think that's just across the board and in general. We could take away country music and just say everybody's trying to be everybody else and nobody's trying to be themselves. I know I struggle with that.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm definitely the same way too. I mean like I've stripped thousands of bits from like other people on TikTok and like kind of made it my own, you know? It's like, yeah, that's kind of was their thing, but I made it my own. Yeah. I still copied them a little bit though.
Right. I got something from them. But you put it in yours, in your own way. And yeah, it's like it's definitely good to have like inspiration because like we need that. We get that from other people, but it's also like everybody's trying to like it's almost like photocopying. And it's like if you ever try to photocopy something that's like been photocopied and then you photocopy that, it just gets worse and worse and worse over time and it's like
and eventually you can't even tell like what the heck you're supposed to be photocopying in the first place. Like it just gets so like disoriented and distorted and
and I think that's what people do to themselves when they put their worth and they try to like just copy verbatim what other people are doing.
Absolutely.
And it's just tough to see. But so what do you do? I'm just going to switch topics. What do you do to keep yourself real at the top of your game? What do you do to take care of yourself?
You know, I mean, there's really not a whole lot that I do. I mean, I know people say like, oh, I take a multivitamin in the morning, you know, and I take all these things because it makes you feel really great. And it's like, well, I mean, I've always tried to keep everything simple because like with my life, like if I got too much going on, I get out of control really quick and everything will come down at once. So it's like I try to keep my stuff simple where it's like, you know, wake up at the same time every day. I won't eat the same stuff every day, but it's like, you know, like just make sure like I'm eating the right foods and I'm eating the right amount of food. My biggest thing right now is working out. That's been such a crush for me. I mean, like, because like with my job and stuff and with TikTok, like TikTok's really been killing me because like I've been losing like motivation to make videos. I've been losing inspiration like crazy. And it's frustrating because like I know there's people that really want to see my stuff. Yeah. And then at work too and everything, like not everything's going so great there. But honestly, like just going to the gym's like the only thing keeping me sane. Like it's just helping me a ton. You can take out that frustration in a healthy way where I'm not going to the bar and I'm getting loaded to feel better, you know? Right. Like that's really the only thing that I can say is like to be on top of my game, it's like I gotta have the gym. Okay. If I don't got the gym, I'm gonna spiral out of control so quick. I mean, I don't know. That's really all I do there, and I guess other than that, it's like I used to be the guy to drink 8 beers to go to bed. Yeah. I cut that out of my diet, and I noticed it helped me a ton. An absolute ton. I mean, even with sleep, I thought I needed beer to sleep. But honestly, it makes everything worse in the morning, and you feel like you're not getting enough sleep. Yeah. You know, so it's just I kind of cut that out of my diet. I'll have like a couple. Yeah. You know, but I mean, I won't send it like I used to. Right. So I mean, I don't know, just kind of like just little things. It's nothing like you got to take crazy seriously. It's basically just stuff that I kind of grew up being taught in school. Okay. Like you remember being in 2nd grade and like it's like, oh yeah, drugs are so bad for you and you're never gonna want to drink because it's gonna ruin your life and tobacco and all this and everything and it's like, well, moderation, you know, and don't get too carried away with what you're doing. And I mean, and you'll be the best that you can be. Just stay focused, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think there's a lot of good in there. It's simple. It's repetitive, and it sounds purposeful. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you got to think about it for more than 5 minutes, like how to take care of yourself, it's like you're probably not doing it right. You know, like you're thinking about like, yeah, I gotta do this, and then I'm gonna be killing it. It's like, well, not entirely. I mean, you can take your time with everything and go at your pace, do it the way you want to do it, but also make sure that like, you know, that you're doing it. Like you got to realize that, oh yeah, I forgot to eat today. But that's like a 15-second thought, like, hey, what do I want to eat? This, that, boom, figure it out, you know? Where some people are like, hey, I got to make sure that I have this, this, and that's just for lunch. Then after lunch, I got to meditate for 10 minutes, you know, and like, just get real carried away with like, if I don't do this, I'm going to be depressed. It's like, that's how people kind of go downhill.
Okay.
They just overthink everything.
Yeah, you kind of like tyrannize yourself. You're just like super strict, and then it's like, man, it's like I didn't do this one thing. Bad.
Exactly, and it's like, well, I mean, yeah, but you also did everything else you wanted to do. You did 98% of the work that you really wanted to do, but it's easy to overemphasize the little things that you miss. So as long as I keep it simple, I know I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of other people could use that too. So I mean, like think about it. Like, I'm not gonna like call anyone out here, but like say vegans, you know, they're really big into eating just plant-based stuff, and that's cool. Like, I mean, that's great and everything, but I mean, they also get really wrapped up in like, not all of them, but some of them are like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. If I don't eat this much of this, I'm gonna be a wreck. It's like, well, you don't have to think that way. I mean, you can still be vegan and go about your life, but it's like you're putting too much focus into just one thing. You're overemphasizing, and you're letting that take control of your life. You know, like you can do whatever you want to do that makes you feel good. Just, you know, just moderation.
Right.
I suppose that's probably like the best way I can put it is moderation.
No, I think that's really good. It's too many people, I think, focus on excess. Right? Because all we see is excess online. We only see excess. We only see, you know, the most money. You know, we constantly hear about Elon Musk, who has the most money out of anybody on the planet right now. It's like we hear about people who have the most cars, you know, the most followers. We always hear about all this excess when maybe we should be thinking about just what we need. You know, like, oh, I forgot to eat today, maybe I should eat. It's like, you know, I don't struggle with that at all. It's like, it's like I make sure I eat. And so for me, my moderation looks different. My moderation is like, okay, I'm going to fast till like noon. Like I just don't eat breakfast. I'll drink my coffee. But it's like, I want to like fast and make sure that I can control myself. And then it's like, I'll eat lunch at noon. And it's like, I just make sure that I have a moderate amount of food. It's like, it's not like I'm trying to make up for, you know, missing breakfast. Because I didn't miss breakfast. You know, my body ate itself a little bit. It's like, I used to have a lot more body to eat, and it's like, it's gone down, especially after being done with sports. You know, but I was really like that, you know, like I have to eat this, you know, it's like I have to have this amount of time between meals, and it was like all this perfection, and I was wasting so much time. Yeah, like you said if you're thinking about something more than 5 minutes, you know, you're kind of doing it wrong. It's like I was putting like 15 minutes to half an hour a day into like my meal prep, my planning, my day, my training, like all for, you know, a sport. And it's like, sure, I can argue that that's necessary.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't. Looking back on it, it's like, yeah, I was in that, but I really didn't need that. I just should have made sure I was eating enough to make sure that I wasn't going to like die during training.
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
I didn't have to break out my macros. You know, there's so many people talking about like your macronutrients and like make sure you get this much protein, make sure you get this many carbs, this much fat. It's like, just make sure you're eating right. I think for the majority of people, I think you just have to make sure you're eating a balanced, moderate portion of food. You know, and doing a moderate amount of exercise. You know, when I talked with Jesse, it was 3 minutes. Or it was 30 minutes 3 times a week. That's all you have to do for exercise. in order to reduce your risk of dying by like 60% from a cardiovascular issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If people just an hour and a half a week, you have like over 100 hours a week. It's like take an hour and a half and do that, you know. And it's all moderation. So I really like that point.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's just like just kind of keep your things simple, moderation, and you know what I mean. Obviously, like with eating and stuff, like you said about missing breakfast and everything, and like say like, well, then you ended up having like a really busy lunch hour and you didn't get as much lunch to eat.
Right.
It can be one of those things where you kind of take it and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get enough, my whole day's ruined, like I'm going to be a nightmare, I'm going to be a wreck. Well, then your anxiety's up, and then the rest of your day is ruined because like you're focusing on that. But it's like, okay, well, you know what, I can recover from that from dinner, but that's not my thing right now. Right now I'm focusing on this because it's just all about balancing everything out and not overemphasizing things, moderation, and being simple, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Nothing really crazy to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know if you think the same way here, but I feel like there's a lot of like people out there that'll post stuff and say like, you have to do this or you're not going to feel good.
Yep.
Like you have to do this or your life's not going to work. Mm-hmm. You have to do this or you're going to die by 40. It's like, well, that's not true. Yep. I mean, genetics take a play and everything. It's like, it's just, I feel like people listen way too much to everything they see.
Yeah.
They just pay attention to like, oh, this guy's got a fitness account with like 700,000 followers.
Yep.
He probably knows what he's doing. It's like, well, you don't know. He might have started that account after he got really jacked and people saw that he's like super ripped and everything, and they're just going to listen to him because of whatever he said. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you or for me or for whoever watches it.
Yep.
It's just everyone's kind of got to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just stick to simple principles.
Yes, 100%. I love that. It's especially the point of this guy. He has 700,000 followers. It's like he must know what he's doing.
Yeah, they just assume that.
Why would that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
These people this could be 700,000 people who have no idea what they're doing and they're hoping the same thing. And I think social media creates this atmosphere where it's like we think that the number of people who follow someone means something.
Absolutely.
It's like this has to be the funniest guy because he has the most followers. It's like that's likely to be true, but that's not 100% certain.
Right.
That's not 100% the case. And so social media allows like everybody, and maybe not everybody, but a lot of people who might not actually be, let's say, worth their salt, it lets them slip in the cracks because they're able to convince people that they are worth listening to, when in fact they probably don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're
just making it up to get some fame, I mean.
Right.
And that's so true. I mean, you see that all the time all over TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
People that just make stuff up just to, get fame. And there's a big thing going around with like videos of people and stuff. They're like, see those guys get those grills and stuff on their teeth? Like the diamond testers.
Yep.
And they're like, see, this stuff's real. It's like, I don't even know if that's a real diamond tester.
Right, like I didn't know they had diamond testers.
And it's like, it looks like you're in Dubai, but how do I know that's not a green screen behind you? I mean, everything you're wearing looks super fake, and like, it's just, I feel like people just make stuff up for fame.
100%. Well, it's all fame is attention, and all you have to be willing to do is convince someone that you're worth paying attention to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, in order to get paid attention to, do really absurd things.
Oh, yeah.
It's like with the grills, it's like, I have the most insane grill, look at my teeth. It's like, I have the most insane shoes, I have the most insane house, car, whatever. It's like, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, or you have people squeezing lemon juice in their eyes, or hot sauce, or,
Yeah, like the Tide Pod Challenge.
Right.
We were talking about that earlier.
Right, right. And it's like, that's why Jackass was popular.
Oh, yeah. They just do the craziest stuff.
Because they do the crazy stuff, and you have to laugh at it because it's so absurd. Mm-hmm. It's like what? They actually did that?
Like, who thinks of that?
Right.
Like, where does that come from?
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I know where it comes from. I know being an adolescent, I know what that's like. A teenage boy will do about anything. And it's like, especially if it's like hit each other in the nuts.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's like you'll do that stuff. But it's like, who would actually sit down for an hour and a half and watch this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, millions of people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, why? Because it's absurd.
It's just
Because
crazy.
it's
yeah.
like crazy, and then other people take that and they're like, oh, let me do something more absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do something more. And I think we're in the like upper ends of like the absurdity, where you have people doing really absurd things on a daily basis, trying to get followers, trying to get likes, and they're ruining their lives and they don't even know it.
That's true. There's a big thing going on TikTok right now, and I refuse to take part in it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's these people, and they'll go live, and they'll say like, "Hey, if you donate this thing, it'll make this sound. If you donate this thing, it'll make this sound. Wake me up. I'm sleeping."
Yeah, I've seen those.
You know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys are sleeping, and you're trying to get woken. Like you're trying to get money by getting woken up to like ruin your sleep schedule.
Yeah.
And there's other people too where they'll be like, "Hey, distract me from doing my job," you know, and they'll be making the sounds, but they're at work.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're really gonna risk your job to like get people to come in and like mess up your like? I don't understand.
Yep.
How like people just get so attached to that. I want to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that. How people just like get so
Right.
wrapped up in it.
Well, what I don't understand is that people pay for that.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
That
and
too.
I've seen some people, they'll donate like $25
Mm-hmm.
just to like make a certain sound. What?
I know, and it's
Why?
just like you don't even know this guy. Like why
Right.
why are you paying him
Right.
to like? I don't get it. I really don't understand.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's just like poor impulse control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and I think social media really like reduces our impulse control, where it's like we're more liable to do things that we normally wouldn't. It's like if you were walking on the street and some guy was like, "Hey, give me $25 to," and you know, I'll have somebody come in and like mess up my desk while I'm working. It's like, why would I do that?
Yeah, it's
Like that makes no sense.
Mhm.
But we live in this like virtual world where like these things matter.
Yeah, it's easy to engage in everything else that's going on
Yeah.
because it's right in front of you on your phone.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's I don't understand it whatsoever. It's been one of those things that's really like baffled me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, why would you ever want to set up your life like this? I don't know. I don't get it. You know, maybe someone can explain it to me, but I don't. I don't really get it.
I don't get it either, man. It's so weird. I mean, the stuff people will do to just like make money on TikTok and to
Mm-hmm.
become famous. It's like I don't understand where like especially where the drive comes from.
Right.
You know, I mean, like yeah, I get it. Like they see that these famous people live these crazy, extravagant lives and everything, but it's like you're really gonna like risk it all just to even come close to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, especially when you're starting from nowhere too, and you're
Right.
you're okay, how am I going to achieve this? And you're coming up with all these crazy ideas and stuff, and then eventually you get out of hand with it, but it's like, how do you not be able to take a step back and say, okay, this is what I'm doing to myself, and everyone's is seeing it.
Right.
It's like, I just don't understand how people can get so serious about it.
I don't either. It's a mystery to me. Maybe we're just not enlightened enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But
It's something else.
it is. Where do you plan on taking your character? You know, what are your plans for comedy? You know, where do you plan? What's in the works? What's in your mind?
Well, I mean, with everything that I did comedy-wise when it started, I guess you could compare Kodip to Jared Outlaw. The guy who made all the Dip reviews. Like, that's kind of where I started with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, I was like, this isn't really funny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you can make it goofy, but it's like, I can only talk about Dip for about 30 minutes. And then not only that, like, I've been trying to steer away from Chew, too, because, like, it's starting to mess up my life.
Right.
So I was like, well, I got to take this in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
What am I really good at? Well, like I told you, the redneck voice and everything.
Right.
And that's kind of where I've been lately. And a lot of it started out, like, lately has been, like, 90s country.
Okay.
That's kind of where it's been. And I feel like that's just because that's what's popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is, like, all the time on my feed, I'll have like the official Alan Jackson, like one of his music videos will pop up.
Yeah.
And like people are just going nuts over it. And it's like, how come music isn't like this today? How come people don't wear clothes like this anymore? Like, this is cool. And it's so I was like, okay, I'll invest in my wardrobe a little bit, you know, and kind of like dress like a 90s country guy, like at an old time honky tonk bar down the road, you know. And I'll kind of set up my bit like that. And that's kind of where my comedy's been. Like I did a bit not too long ago. Alan Moore showing up for his prom date in '92, and it's like he's just at this chick's front door. He's got a cigarette hanging off his lip, wearing some old striped button down with a cowboy hat, and he's like looking around, like waiting on this girl, you know. Yeah. And it kind of blew up a little bit, and they're like, "Man, that's classic stuff. How do you come up with this?" And it's like, well, you know, just trying to figure out where I want my comedy to head. I haven't really figured out what sticks yet.
Okay.
So I mean, my niche is all over the place right now. I mean, lately it's been like the 90s country stuff. And then I toyed a little bit like modern stuff, like Redneck discovers Snapchat, like trying to figure out how to operate Snapchat. Yeah. Or like even just like taking movies and turning that into like...
Right. You did the... recently you did the Cowboy Gets Frozen, or Redneck Gets Frozen... and goes 200 years in the future.
Yeah, Redneck time travels.
Yep.
Yep. And that was inspired from like Back to the Future.
Yep.
Because like I watched that about an hour before I made that TikTok, and I was like, that'd be funny. Instead of Marty McFly, you've got like Redneck Ricky in this DeLorean. I was like, that'd be a pretty funny TikTok bit, but it's kind of like where I've been getting my inspiration from. I did another one a while back. It was like Redneck in the Matrix. It's like, what do you want to take, the red pill or the blue pill? I'm not taking any pills. just goofy stuff. Like I don't know. So it's been all over the place. I'd like to get it to a point where I can just use that voice, but then I can just start writing jokes.
Okay.
And just start taking away with those jokes, where it's not just about like a redneck character per se.
Right.
It's just about like, okay, I'm playing as this redneck guy, but I'm just telling jokes.
Right. It's just you.
Pretty much.
It's just you.
Just telling stories and stuff, and just like making it funny, or I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah, but I guess that's kind of where I want to take it.
Is stand-up in your future?
I'm not too sure. I'd like to. I think it'd be really cool. I've always admired stand-up comics. I've watched a lot of the old clips from like Adam Sandler from like when he was around my age. Yeah. You know, like how he got his start. I watch a lot of Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy because you know they're kind of in the realm that I'm in with my jokes and stuff. But I'd like to do stand-up. My big problem is I don't know how the audience is gonna handle those jokes. Because like I talked to my sister about it, and she did theater in high school. Okay. You know, and then she also did like the short film thing with my uncle for a little while, and she said that the whole acting thing is so much different in front of a camera than it is on stage. Because on stage, you really have to sell that emotion. You really have to sell like, you know, the punchline, the ticket. They need to see that. Right. Because on screen, it's like, well, their face takes up like the whole screen, you know, and you can really, you don't have to work that hard for them to see it. Right. But I mean, like when they're in a play, you can be sitting in the nosebleeds. They got to be able to see it still. Yeah. You know, you really got to sell that. So it's like, well, I don't know if that's what I have. I think mine's mainly just kind of like in front of a camera type deal. Because like naturally that's just how it works for me. But I don't know, maybe it's just like one of those whole other things where I just kind of got to learn it, get a feel for it, type deal. But I would like to do stand up. Yeah, just a matter of figuring it out, I guess.
That's fair. Also, we live in a place where there are no clubs.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I mean that's tough too. So it would take going somewhere else and you know like trying to book a time, you know, to get up there, and then it's like, it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of work. Like I've listened to like Joe Rogan talk about his early stand-up days, and like he was on the East Coast and they had clubs all over, and he would like run place to place. Like I think that's kind of moderated now by social media because you can do your jokes. You know, you can have your face out there and people see it, but it's still like there's a difference between like TikTok comedy and I think like actual stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a Netflix special.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like, that's the thing with stand-up too, is like you got one take to make the crowd laugh.
Yep.
You're done. I mean, you're getting booed off stage, and it's like, well, with TikTok, I mean, a lot of my videos, it's like I gotta do 10 takes.
Right.
Because like I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I didn't look as funny there as I could have. I'm gonna give it another shot.
Yeah.
And then kind of oversell it a little more, whatever I have to do. I can kind of perfect those things. With stand-up comedy, it's like one slip, and I'm like, yeah, there goes my whole show. Like,
right.
You know, that's just how I feel like I take it. So,
right.
I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things, or maybe it's just trial and error. Just
That's
gotta
fair.
try over and over again.
That's fair.
I think what's his name said that. There was a stand-up comedian. I can't remember who it was. I want to say Bill Burr.
It sounds like some. Yeah.
I'm not sure who it was. I think it was him. I can't picture his New York accent saying that, but
Yeah.
he basically said just like, you just got to try again. You just kind of have to walk into it feeling good about it,
Mm-hmm.
and if it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. That's not your last show.
Right.
You know, but where me, it'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing this ever again. You know?
That's fair.
I don't know. So I'd like to do stand-up. I'm still kind of waiting for an opportunity, I guess.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting market. There's tons of comics that are like trying to get in,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, yeah, it just takes being in kind of the right place, right time. I'm not really sure beyond that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting phenomenon, that's for sure. Because yeah, to get paid for making people laugh, man, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool job.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, like what's nice too is like, I mean, you know, Talon Stoddard.
Yeah.
He's been on a lot of my videos and stuff, and it's
You guys
nice.
make a great pair.
I know. I was gonna say it's really nice that I could share that with him because like he kind of gets that whole comedy side of the world. Like, you know, when I'm trying to get my jokes across, he picks up on it and he kind of plays off it. You know, it's really nice to have people to collaborate with. Because when I first started, I didn't have that. It was just like, okay, well, no one understands how I'm like trying to bring this joke about, and I guess I'm just kind of on my own. But Talon really picks up on it well and stuff, and he's a great time.
Maybe you guys are just like what Albert and Costello or something like that. You know, maybe you guys are just a dynamic duo.
Yeah, that's kind of how we've run a lot of our videos too. Just a couple of idiots. Just I don't know. We kind of play it off as like we're like just two stupid cousins that just run around and get in trouble together. I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it really works. I do enjoy whenever talent comes on. It's always fun to watch. But
well, he's just nuts. You know how he is. I mean, he's just crazy.
yeah, he is. Yeah. What advice do you have to anybody who's looking to like start up like a either TikTok comedy, whether it's something else, whether anybody's starting to just do anything? You know, I mean, maybe that's a little broad, but.
Oh yeah, just kind of like basically just to chase their dreams.
Yeah, chase your dreams.
Because like TikTok, making videos, that's been a dream of mine for a long time. In high school, that got stomped on all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone told me like, dude, your videos are dumb. Like, don't even, just quit. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I felt about it. But the best piece of advice that I would say is just don't quit. Like just don't quit. Believe in yourself and don't quit, because at the end of the day, it's like the haters, it's like that's none of their business. They're not living your life, and you're not living their life, so why does it matter what they think? Only listen to the ones that are, really enforcing you. I struggled with that for a while, was the comments. I had a video that blew up to like 1.2 million views. It was out of control, and I got a lot of hate. I had over 5,000 comments, and it was just hate.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, this isn't even my audience. Like, I mean, it's like it got blown up in the complete wrong audience. It was weird, but
the algorithm was just off.
I remember clicking on the names and stuff. I was reading the comments, and I was like, these people don't even follow me. Yeah. And I was like, man, if I would sit here and like beat myself up over the fact that 5,000 people hate this one video, I probably would have never made a video ever again. It's just, it's about, yeah, you're going to have haters. That's how it goes. But that's how you know you're succeeding. You know, when I first started, a lot of my buddies from high school were like, dude, this is so stupid. He blew up to 10,000 followers. He thinks he's like big stuff, you know? And I mean, now I'm at 660,000 followers.
Right. That's a big jump.
You know, and it's like, you know, you just can't give up. You can't listen to the ones that tell you that, like, you're not good enough, you're really stupid because you're doing this. That's not how it is. If it's your dream, who's to say that it's not worth chasing?
Right.
You know, so just don't quit and believe in yourself. That's really all I can say. If you do those two things, you're probably going to get a lot farther than you think. You might not reach the big time end goal, but you're going to get pretty close. Like, you're going to get somewhere, and along the way you might decide it's not for you. But, I mean, just whatever you do, don't quit, because, I mean, someday you might hate yourself for it. You know?
Regardless of what you do, you'll probably be in a better place than you were.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's better to try and it doesn't work out than to, like, give up and not know what could have came.
Right.
You know? Just like, yeah, man, I could have taken that job for Saturday Night Live or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I could have taken that job, but I didn't, because everyone back home told me it wouldn't be any funny.
Right.
It's like, well, where do you think it would have been if I would have made it? I don't know. And you just sit there at night thinking, what would have happened in my life?
Yeah.
You know, or if you would have just had the guts to say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to come on for a show.
Right.
Worst happens, they don't think I'm funny, and I come home.
Right.
And then it's life is normal. I tried it, didn't work. You know, I mean, it's just don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Don't quit, and just believe in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's great advice, because you don't quit. It's like, and those haters, they're not where you're at. You know, they don't.
I know.
You know, it's like it's you know, taking that video. It's like 5,000 people commenting. It's like on a video that has 1.2 million views. How many, you know, tens of thousands of likes? And it's like a fraction of the population didn't like it. You know, it's like, they're not where you're at. The people in high school, they're not where you're at.
Exactly. They're kids sitting in. You don't even. Yeah, you don't even know them.
Right.
Is how it is. It's just like they just saw that video and they just thought it was dumb.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's their opinion. You can't get wrapped up in other people's opinions. You know. I mean, I totally would have quit making videos if everyone would have told me, like, that is the worst idea in the world. If I would have listened to that, yeah, I wouldn't be making videos.
Right.
And I think that's how it would be for anybody. Like, if they just listen to the haters all the time. Right. It's like, you gotta listen to the little voice in here that says, like, I think this would be so cool if I did this. That would make me so happy. You know, like, just to, like, chase after that dream and to have that for myself, because that's what I wanted myself to be. It's like, you listen to that and you chase it, it's like, you can probably go a lot further than you think. Yeah. But, I don't know, that's kind of just been my experience, because I've always had people tell me, like, hey, you're not good enough, dude. I mean, you can't. You're never going to make it doing this. Like, you know what I mean? I just always had people saying that to me, so I eventually just said, you know what, it was bad in high school, because I saw them every day. Right. And I could see them kind of like looking at me out of the corner of their eye, like, this guy's so stupid, like, this is what he's doing. You'd see that every day up close, and it's like, yeah, maybe I should just stop doing this. You know, everyone thinks I'm an idiot. And then eventually, I quit seeing him every day. Right. And it's like, all right, well, I guess, yeah, technically it's hiding behind a screen, but not in the same sense, because it's like, you know, yeah, I'm putting it out there, it doesn't work, oh, whatever, okay, on to the next one. You know, you can kind of push that aside, whereas you're not going and you're having someone in your face all the time telling you, hey, you're not good enough. Right. You know, it's easier to do it, I guess, with social media, but, yeah, I guess that's my only advice, is just don't quit. And, what was the other one?
Don't quit and basically ignore the haters.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I rambled myself out of my own brain there for a second.
I do it quite often. You get to that point, and then you get that scared look in your eyes, and you're like, oh God, what was I talking about?
Yeah, you're like, where did I begin?
Yeah. So you mentioned you have 660,000 followers on TikTok, and
give or take.
And so, what has been the worst part about fame?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's really not like anything bad about it. Worst part about it, I would say, is like, I have a little bit of anxiety from it. Okay. You know, I mean, like, going places too, because I mean, most people wouldn't think that like I get recognized, but like it does happen. Like I'll go to like the rodeo or something. Like I was at the rodeo this winter and I had kids come up to me and they're like, "Dude, can you sign my dip can?" And I'm like, I mean, you're 14, but sure, I guess. You know, it's like it gives me a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, I look like a moron. But at the same time, it's like these kids are watching my stuff because they think I'm hilarious, and they love my stuff. Like this puts a smile on their face. So I mean, there's good and bad where it's like. Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird being famous. I've never been that way. That's never been my mindset. Is like, I'm famous,
right?
Because I'm still just me, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I told myself like I don't want to change because of this. People change with fame all the time, and it just ruins them. And it's like well, I don't want that to be me. Like if I was blessed enough to be given this opportunity to make people laugh, it's like okay, I'm going to use that, but. That's not going to define me. That's not going to make me me. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I've never had any bad experiences with it. The only thing that really sucks, I guess, is just you got to deal with stupid business people. Really stupid business people. I mean, just all the time wanted to use your account for like, hey, we want to put our product on your page. And we're going to give you some of the product to pay you for it. That's what we think you're worth. It's like... You know, it gets a little demeaning. Yeah. Like, this isn't why I do this. I do this to make people laugh because people think it's funny. Yeah. And that makes me feel good about, you know, doing the whole thing. Right. Where some guy just walks in and says, like, hey, can you put this on your page because, you know, we'll pay you a little bit of cash for it. It's like, I'm not a sellout, man. Like, that's not how this works. I guess that's really the only time it really does suck. Cause like I've worked with a couple companies and they're all friendly and everything, you know, and then all of a sudden they just become like a bug in your ear and just all the time it's like, hey, how come you're not answering my calls, you're not texting me back? It's like, well dude, I got a life of my own too, man. Like this isn't my job. Like I get it, what you're promoting, like that's your job. I understand that. Yeah. But I told you from the get-go, this is for fun. I do this in my spare time. Right. This is not my job. Yeah. So they get all worked up and it just kind of creates a bit of a mess, and then I end up thinking about it too much. Like, oh my gosh, I got all these people. Like, it's like I'll make one video for them, and then I'll have people talking about like, yo, when's Kodip gonna do a collab with so and so or whatever, you know? And it's just like, now I've made a mess. It's like now they're wrapped up in this like, you know, little tiny world of. Yeah. Just like because they're seeing the business that like Kodip's doing now, and it's like that's not what I wanted my character to be. I wanted it to be just funny. When they see Kodip, it's funny. Like it's just they smile because like that's something that cheers them up. I don't want them to see it as like an advertisement. That's not what I wanted. So I mean, I kind of made that mistake on my own, and I'd say that's the only thing that really, you know, sucked about it. But other than that, it's always just been kind of fun, just taking it and running with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so sponsorship is something that like people in the social media realm really look forward to, but you're like, no, that's an obstacle for my creation. It gets too much.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people are like, oh man, I made it big now. I'm gonna get a bunch of free stuff from this because people love it. And I mean, I get that. I mean, you know, people look forward to that kind of side of everything, and that was me at first, where I was like. Man, I can really take this and like, you know, benefit from it. But then over time, it's like, dude, this is not like a benefit thing. This is like an endorsement deal where, you know, they're pretty much playing like a puppet.
Right. And I have to give my firstborn to them, you know, down the road. It's like.
I was like, this is ridiculous. I hate this. And, you know, I pretty much gave all the businesses that I was working with at one time the finger. I was like, you guys are all done here. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want you guys to keep sending me products. If you guys send me products, I'm not even going to send it back, but I'm not going to tell you I'm making a video. Like, I mean, like, you can keep messaging me and all you want, but I'm not going to respond. Like, I'm done. Yeah. I can't handle it anymore. And they all responded really well, and they're like, no, like, yeah, we understand. Like, it's a lot. You said you had a full-time job, but they don't understand.
No, they don't.
Because they keep messaging. They're like, keep nitpicking. Like, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he will. I've got 15 unopened messages from the Shoddy, from Knife a Month, from I can't remember, Filthy Shades. I was working with Filthy Shades for a while. I got all these unopened messages from them. It's like, you guys are not really getting the hint that like I'm not going to work with you anymore. And I'm like, I set you guys up with a bunch of creators that really like doing sponsorship stuff. I told you guys that's how I'd help you out because I felt bad. Because I'm like, okay, I pulled out of a deal where I told them I was going to make them a bunch of videos. Yeah. And I said, okay, it's too much. I can't do it anymore. But here's some contacts that I know would love to help you out. I gave them that. They're still like, hey, you should still be making videos for us, but we'd still love to have you. It's like, oh man, I don't. When money gets involved, it just becomes a mess.
It's fair.
Think about how it was for us in track.
Yeah.
Remember track in high school?
Yeah.
How much fun that was. Like just,
it was a blast.
Just competing against yourself, bettering yourself week to week, and then you get to college and it turns into a job.
It was a full-time job. Like, yeah. I mean, you're sitting there, like I said, half an hour a day trying to think about my next day's, nutrition and workout. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes less, intrinsic. It's not coming from what I want to do. It's coming from what other people want me to do.
Exactly.
And it's no longer fun at all.
That totally got ruined for me too, where I was just like, this isn't track that I knew. When I was in high school, I came from a very successful track program. Yeah. At Century and everything, and like they.
Sure.
I'm just man. Well, I mean, they run a tight ship up there,
They do, yeah.
Like super about the culture and everything, and that's kind of like how I knew track, and that's why I loved it. Was just the camaraderie ship. But then when money gets involved, it's almost like every man's a little part. A little part of them's like, yeah, I'm kind of fighting for myself here, so. Just everyone still kind of has their distance, and it's like this wasn't like the family team thing that like I remember from high school, and I feel like a lot of that's just because money gets involved. Yeah. It's like I got to worry about myself. I got to make sure that like you got your own scholarship or whatever. Like, hey, I got to make sure I get this scholarship. So I feel like once money gets involved with anything, it makes it a lot more messy than it needs to be.
Oh yeah, because like I remember it was like they have a full scholarship, and they didn't show up to workout. Are you kidding me? It's like, or they're getting half, and it's like I'm sitting here fighting. It's
Facts.
like what? Mm-hmm. And it's like then it's like it's less about you, it's more about them, and then it's like it's tough. It's no, I agree. Money's really great because it makes the world go round, but it can really really hinder any kind of self-improvement, any kind of camaraderie, because everybody's always kind of looking over their shoulder like, oh, is that guy gonna, what's he doing? Is he getting money? How much money is he getting?
Well, because it doesn't take much for like people to put their self-value in money.
Yes.
I mean those businesses I work with, they want to take off.
Yeah.
Because they're smaller businesses, but they're thinking like, hey, this guy's like a big influencer. This could be our jump. Right. This could be where we get big.
Right.
And, that's kind of where, the content creator that agreed to this whole thing turns into the leapfrog, where they just kind of, use a launching pad. And then next thing you know, you're kind of, left in the dust, and it's just whatever. But, I don't know. That's really the only thing that sucks about doing the whole TikTok thing is just the businesses you got to deal with. Because you never know when they're going to be actually good people, or they're just good businessmen. That's just a dark side to it.
Yeah, you would like it to be the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like a good businessman to be a good person, but money talks.
Oh yeah.
And it's like at the end of the day, if you're not making me money, it's like goodbye. Mm-hmm. Or it's like we still think you could try to get us money. Here, we're gonna inbox you 15 times, and it's like please answer us, and it's like maybe it is that small business, trying to make their name with a well-known influencer, but it's like man, it's kind of sad. It's like get a hint, It's like as much as you hate saying that, I always hate saying that phrase. Just take the hint, man. But it's like at some point you have to do that.
And I mean the only reason why I haven't is just because in the back of my head I'm like they might not even be thinking about it. They might just be mass texting this stuff.
They could be.
Because I mean, I know that's how some businesses run, where they just mass text all their to all their personnel, and then just say hey, are you up for this or not? Okay, you're not. Okay, are you up for this or not? Okay, like a voting thing kind of.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of like where I gave him all those contacts and stuff like that. Like Brittany Scoville, I hooked her up with the shoddy. You know, Austin Peebler, I hooked him up with the shoddy as well. I just kind of like, we had a big group chat on TikTok with all these country TikTokers, you know. And I put in there, I'm like, hey, are you guys looking to do sponsorships? Because like I'm getting sick and tired of working with these guys, and I know some of you guys like would really love to start making some deals. So let me know who you want to work for that I work with, and I'll get you in touch. And that's what I did. I just sent them out, and I'm like, hey, you got your people now. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of just took off, and they're still being hey. It's like that drunk friend following you around at the bar, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, I thought I got you a ride home. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're supposed to go home an hour ago. You're sick. You're all over the place. No. Like I thought we agreed you were gonna, you know, take it easy and go home for the night.
Yeah.
But then they overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like out of control.
It's just a little too much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's really the only dark side I have about TikTok, I suppose. Other than that, it's all been good experiences.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the content you create seems really fun. It seems like you really enjoy. Like when I watch your stuff, I know that you've taken the time to curate like the best shot, the best punchline. You know, all of it. You know, you've taken the time, and it's like I know that there's going to be quality stuff at the end of it, and I love hearing that you're trying to cut out the BS, you know, because it's like that takes away from what your goal is at the end of the day, and that's making people laugh. Because laughter at the end of the day is some of the best medicine we can ever have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's where a lot of like my comedy comes from, is because like I remember there was a point in my life where I couldn't laugh, and what I would have done to be able to laugh about something, I probably would have gone to some pretty extreme measures just to feel good about something again.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, I know what that value is to people. And, you know, if I can do that for someone, and, I mean, just to help someone out, just to get them to smile or something like that, it's just a good feeling, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you tell someone a joke and they think it's hilarious, that kind of makes you feel good, too. It's like, yeah, I guess I am kind of funny. Like, I kind of got something up my sleeve, you know what I mean?
It's like, maybe I am. Yeah, well, laughter... Did you know that laughter is actually a therapy?
I guess I never really thought about it, I suppose, but I mean, like, it makes sense in my head.
Yeah, it's an actual therapy that was developed by a psychiatrist in, like, I think it was, like, 1964, if I remember right. And they found, like, all these great benefits from laughter. Like, laughing creates an opioid response in your brain, and so it numbs pain. Laughing, what else? It reduces the cortisol stress response in your body, and so when you laugh more, your cortisol levels will go down, which is real common in like chronic stress, and so laughter will actually decrease the cortisol, so your body's stress response, so you're less stressed, like chronically, and it also increases dopamine, obviously, and they say serotonin, but now we know that serotonin doesn't do anything for us, so, but yeah, it does, and then it increases oxygen intake because you're laughing.
I suppose, yeah.
And so, which is really great for health.
Absolutely.
And a whole bunch of other stuff that, you know, it's like I can't even list off. And so it's just such a great benefit that people can have, and it's like if we can have people laughing instead of, you know, I don't know, using heroin, you know, if like if that's how they get their hit, it's like, yes, let's make people laugh. Let's have people stop taking themselves so seriously and start laughing.
100%. I mean, just trying to find like the funny things in life. I mean, and you know, there's another comedian too that said something about like the difference between a comedian and a normal person is a comedian walks around with a notebook. Because there's funny stuff that happens all around you, you know what I mean? Like, you might not even realize it, but there's like funny stuff happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, the comedian's the one writing it down and saying like, that's funny. I could word that in a really good way and I could take that and run with it, you know? I mean, and there's so much truth to that. It's like that the comedian takes laughing a lot more serious than the crowd does. Because the crowd doesn't really, they expect it, but they also don't see it coming at the same time.
Right.
You don't know what the punchline is.
Right.
It's gonna probably be funny if he's a big name comedian, but you also don't see it coming.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like if people could really focus on laughter more, just like giving themselves an opportunity to laugh.
Yeah.
That'd totally be a big game changer in the world.
Oh, absolutely. I think with so many different crises and emergencies going on, if we could just could just all laugh a little bit more. Like that would be miraculous.
100%.
I think so much more good would come out of the world. At least we'd be focused on the good. And maybe that could be the change that starts it.
Absolutely. I mean, just giving yourself a chance to laugh. It's like, okay, now hold on. Now don't take this the wrong way here for a second. Just try and think about how this could possibly be funny.
Right.
Because someone's laughing. Someone is.
Right.
I don't know why this person's mad about it, but just think, how is this funny? Yeah. They get it. How can I get it?
Right.
And just kind of put pieces together, just give yourself a chance to laugh. Because it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
It will.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to stop, Jace.
I would say so,
we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we've been talking for quite some time. We've got a lot of editing to do now.
Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully, I don't think there will be too much, but
no, it won't be too bad. We got a lot of good stuff in there. Pretty smooth talking and everything. I would say we'll let the audience determine that, I guess.
Yeah, I think hopefully they like it.
I think they will. Covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it'll be good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
It was good.
Appreciate it. Y'all take care now.
I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Thank you so much for watching. Episodes are going to keep getting better and better, and so make sure you're subscribed to follow along and make sure you don't miss any awesome episodes like this one or this one right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next episode.